So a little controversy, or a big controversy, quite frankly, has popped up concerning the Buffalo National River. We have these stories. I'm going to throw them up on the screen here, just so you can see to kind of preface this next segment. Buffalo National River redesignation talks have some Arkansans concerned. Then we have this. This is interesting. The Coalition for the Future of the Buffalo National River. This website, I had to use the Wayback Machine. I can't get it to pull up anymore. Just, food for thought. Maybe it's something wrong with my computer, but I had to go and look at the cached version of it. Then we have this, Walton Enterprises, no connection between land purchases and Buffalo River Coalition. This from Axios Northwest Arkansas. So there's some concerns that the Waltons and Walmart kind of wants this redesignation to try to develop the Buffalo National River. And then you see this, ABC 7, controversy brews over proposed Buffalo River redesignation amid transparency concerns, potential oil interests. Maybe some people are saying they want to drill for oil or natural resources here with this new designation. To talk more about this, I reached out to Senator Bryan King, and he joins us now. Senator King, thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I know you've been interviewed several times over this issue already, standing up for your constituents. What can you tell us about the latest developments over this controversy?
Yeah, latest is that we really don't know. It seems like this runway group has retracted back a little bit. I don't think this is going away. I think that there's a lot of money interest behind this that think that the example of the New River Gorge in West Virginia, which changed from a national river to a national park and preserve, is a great example, and they want to follow it. And I think that some of the dynamics may change of who's been out in front, but I think this push is going to continue.
Yeah. So, the push is going to continue. What are the motivations here? And can you speak to any of this? Can you speak to the fact that, we have reports of the Waltons owning a lot of land around the area? That was in that one Axios report, and they're denying that they have any involvement in this push to redesignate. A lot of people might not realize, you were just telling me this a little earlier, that the Buffalo National River is a national river, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's not a national park, is it?
No, it's a national river, and it has designations that go along with that. And then, so when you change, it is also not a national park. If you think of Gettysburg National Park or some of these others. So if they change the designation to a national park and preserve, a lot of the details would be worked out in the federal legislation that would be accompany it to change it, much like the New River Gorge situation in West Virginia. So that's people are looking at it like, what's the change? What is going to happen? Who's behind it, and why? What are the ramifications of this change? And so I think that basically you have these interests that have a money interest and a singular focus on that they want to make it where their business model works, and they're under the guise of increasing tourism and economy. And I think that is the drive that they have taken. And fortunately, the Madison County Record broke the story out, and I have been trying to get the word out there to people that I just think the people of Newton County and Searcy County and need a fair discussion, a fair debate, and a fair fight in this thing. And they just really were not getting it. It was a lot of secret behind the scenes things that was going on, and fortunately, we were able to bring it to light, and hopefully. The discussion going forward is going to be driven by the real people down there in the area that I call the gatekeepers and the guardians of the Buffalo River.
Well, a lot of Arkansans, are familiar with the Buffalo River. They go there for recreational purposes, but they don't live there like the people you just mentioned. And so, I think it's common sense that they would also have a seat at the table. And you mentioned under the guise of economic development. You and I have talked about this for years.
Oh, yeah.
More jobs or, more tax dollars, whatever. It all sounds good in theory, but a lot of that is the devil is in the details, isn't it? And so do you think this controversy has kind of, ballooned and is now over? Kind of we're in the downside because people know what they tried to do?
I really don't think so. I thought maybe sometimes this would die down and retract. I don't think it will. I think that there's going to be a lot more questions need to be answered from the governor's husband, who's on this national state committee and doing something that really nobody knows what they're doing or what they're up to. And they really haven't answered questions of being transparent, which is unfortunate. And that just only leads to more speculation. I think that not starting out locally was a mistake. It was disrespectful to the people down there. And, people may come in and float the buffalo and stay 3 or 4 days, but these people are the ones down there 365 days of the year and for several years, and some of them generational, that it means a lot to them. So the way this has been done has really been, at the very least, disrespectful, and deceptive at times.
Okay, so expand on what you just said. You mentioned the governor's husband. What board or committee? What is he on? What are you referring to? I mean, I saw it in the reports, but I want you to tell the viewers.
Yeah, the governor appointed this natural state committee that was supposed to look at tourism. It was a self-appointed kind of committee that he heads up. Uh, to my knowledge, they're not having meetings, or they're discussing things. We really don't know. They haven't really been transparent. And so, I really don't know. I think we want to look at increasing tourism, but yet there are infrastructure issues that you have to look at. And are we really going to increase tourism? Because if you look at the New River Gorge situation that they keep touting as such a success story, you go out from there, from Fayetteville, West Virginia, compare it to Jasper, Arkansas. Well, you're reaching, when you go out, 4 or 5 hours away, 6 hours, especially 8 hours, you're talking about reaching several million more people. I mean, they're within less than 8 hours of New York City, for example. Well, I mean, 8 hours from Jasper doesn't reach that kind of population. You take in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, those things. I mean, if you go out from Jasper, you're taking in Dallas. You're not even probably to Houston. You're probably taking in Memphis, Tulsa, Kansas City. So that's really not a fair comparison. And I think that we really need to have an above board discussion about this whole thing. And one of the things that was one of the misleading puppets out there is the Democrat Gazette opinion page, which basically called the people that were raising question about the transparency, did not know anything. They called them complainers. And I mean, that was just who they are. But they, in one of their op-eds, listen to the promises that we've all heard, Paul. Oh my gosh, if you just pass this, it's going to be great. There's no problems. And if you are against it, you're an obstructionist and don't want progress. But so in that op-ed of the Democrat Gazette opinion page, they said, oh, if we do this, billions, Paul, will flow in from the federal government. I went to them on Twitter, said, show me where billions will flow in. And they haven't responded. So that's what we're getting out there, is all these, smoke and mirrors, big figures thrown out that they can't back up. And so why would people trust these people on the drive? And that's where it is broke down at this point.
So what about the if they were to redesignate this, I guess from a national river to a national preserve? Oh, by the way, I didn't realize that the Buffalo National River was the first river in the nation designated a national river. But if they were to designate this a national preserve, there's also the ability to drill for oil. Isn't that right? I mean, do you think that's something that's really on the table here with some of these interests?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not familiar with any oil down there in the Buffalo National River area in the 96,000 acres that they have, but I'm sure there's other mineral deposits, maybe zinc or something. I think, from what I understand, and we're just still trying to find out everything, Paul, is that it would be written in the legislation in the federal part whether they could do that or not. So I think those details would have to be known later in the federal legislation, is my understanding. But like I said, once again, we're just all still learning from it.
What about this group here? I flashed it up on the screen earlier. Again, I had to use the Wayback Machine to get it. Let me throw this back up there, right here. What can you tell us about the Coalition for the Future of the Buffalo National River? And this is the group that had a this poll, Neighbors Support a Change. So they this is how it all kind of started. There's this there's this poll, okay, and I don't know the breakdown of it. I don't know what the methodology was, but it says in this rural part of the country, nature is treasured and many make their living from an economy that depends on tourism. Requiring only a change in the land's designation, more visitors will bring jobs and more economic benefits. So, I mean, it's as simple as just changing the designation, Bryan, and everything will be great. But what do you know
Yeah.
about this group, the coalition? What's it called again? The Coalition for the Future of the Buffalo National River.
I have no idea. I do not know. I represent a significant portion, and when I had a meeting with the runway group, whenever I thought said when all these discussions happened, I'm like, why did you not call me? And they were represented by John Burris, and they just were not going to call me and tell me or have any discussion. So the first I heard of it was from the county judge down there and some constituents, and then that's when I went to work on it. And when I got the information, I went to Madison County Record, and they broke the story. So I really don't know much about them at all. So
Okay. Well, I mean, I just find it curious. When I search their name, the website comes up. Actually, it's not on the Google results anymore, but on other search engines it is, and I can't get the website to pull back up. So that's kind of why I asked the question if this is kind of maybe a flash in the pan. I know you say it's not, but I'm just
I don't think
curious
it is. Yeah.
why the website is now not available for at least for me. Again, it could just be it could be nothing. Maybe they're still around and they're still trying to organize and
Yeah.
change this designation. But it's interesting how the polling is they attempted to use the poll to sway public opinion here, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah. I think they were using the poll to sway federal delegation, is what they're really doing. And the poll has been taken down, I think, because it's been clearly debunked. I mean, and there was only 7% of the respondents in Newton County were that. A larger, almost half, were in Baxter County, which, if you look at really the heart, the Buffalo River National, or the Buffalo River watershed, was where it really should have been confined to. My guess is it failed in there, and they just kept getting the sample size out bigger till they got the results they wanted. I mean, you and I both know we've been in politics and polls. You do polls to find out where you're really at, and you do polls to get a result that you want to have for
Yeah.
what you want to do. And I think that is why the poll has been taken down. I mean, if you have 64% of the respondents in this poll said they're in favor of this, and all of a sudden in the town of Jasper, which is less than 500, have almost 1,200 people show up, I don't think, and I doubt there was probably less than
Yeah.
20 people there that were for this. So I think your poll was pretty debunked.
Yeah, I mean, most polls are fake. That's the truth.